Hi guys, good afternoon. You've tuned into Money Control. I'm Karunya Rao and we're back to give you an update on commodities. Manisha Gupta joins me from the Mumbai newsroom and today we put the spotlight on wheat. Manisha, we've been talking about cotton, we've been talking about a rise in rice prices as well. But wheat is also, of course, something that impacts people like you and I as well. It's an essential commodity and with prices at a 2-month high, our government has finally decided to put a ban on exports. Tell us what happened and what is the plan now?
Well, yes, hi Karunya, and heat wave in Delhi and heat wave in major producing states is what has led to this ban to begin with. We are looking at crop estimates to begin with on the lower side. Last year crop was at 105 million tons, and that was a record. This year it was expected at 110, 111 million tons, so yet another record. But now the revised estimate from the government itself says 98 million tons, and the industry says it could be much lower at 92 million, even 90 million tons for that matter. So we are looking at a lower wheat crop. The procurement from the government has been much lower as well. The last year procurement from government was more than 40 million tons. This time around, they haven't been able to procure around 16, 17 million tons as well. So nearly 60% lower than last year. The domestic prices have been increasing, and even as government has been supportive of exports, and last year was 7 million tons of an export. This time around was anticipation of 10 million tons of an export. But what we have done until now is 4.5 million ton exports have been contracted. And perhaps this was the right time to curb or restrict exports, because otherwise the government would not have enough wheat for the PDS schemes itself, let alone the export markets or for the open markets and the FMCG companies for that matter.
But you know what's interesting is that this export ban is on wheat and not on wheat products, whether it's bakery items, the likes of pasta, noodles, etc. So why is that so? I mean, why not a ban on these products, finished products, and how good a news is it for these manufacturing companies?
I think for the FMCG companies, it's a good news because one is you can procure wheat at a lower price because as a knee-jerk reaction, the Indian wheat prices have come up by 5 to 7%. The international wheat prices have gone up by 5 to 7%. So for the Indian markets, we are looking at an opportunity here for a value-added export, not just wheat, plain wheat in that sense, but yes, it could be wheat, pasta, bread. As you said, there are various products, cookies, biscuits, rusk, etc., that could be exported. What the markets do believe is that India isn't really a big exporter of all of these things, wheat and wheat products for that matter. And would you see an immediate investment coming in from these FMCG companies to increase production only for exports? Perhaps that would also not happen. But it does open up a market in a very big way for the Indian FMCG companies in that sense. The production that is being done that we are expecting would be increased, and for the Indian markets as well, for the international markets as well. I think the exports for these wheat products is expected to increase. So for FMCG in that sense, it's a big plus because the wheat prices have been contained and the export opportunity has been opened for this.
So what happens now? Because already wheat prices and wheat supply was a concern because of the ongoing, supply crisis. Now, because of the heat wave, the production is not on par. What is it that What are you picking up from traders and from commodity experts? What lies ahead? Will there be more
Well,
price hikes for domestic consumers like you and I?
Well, yes, the 5 to 7% of a correction in prices have already happened as a knee-jerk reaction. Will the prices
Yeah.
come down too low? That is not an expectation. The wheat prices are expected to be on the stronger side because we are looking at a lower crop. We are looking at a lower opening stock, lower procurement from government as well. So wheat prices are expected to be supported. Now, what the government really has said is that the ban is from an immediate effect, but it is not permanent. It can be revised. So that is something that the markets are hinging on. The other thing is that everybody who's opened a letter of credit already, they can export wheats. Countries who are facing food security, wheat will be exported to them as well. And then the government procurement has been extended. It usually ends by 15th of May, but has been extended until 30th of May. And also, government is also ready to take in heat wave impacted wheat crop as well, which has lost some of its moisture. So those prices, of course, have been lowered, but government is ready to buy those as well. So that is the kind of dire situation we are in right now. So are we looking at a big decline in wheat prices? That clearly isn't the case.
So are we expecting some kind of a rub-off effect or some kind of a similar effect because of the heat wave on other crops, other essential crops as well? Because in June again the Kharif sowing will start. So what do we look forward to?
I think that's a great question, Karunya. I guess so. The standing crops will clearly have had an impact, and with the monsoon as well. I mean, we've been calling it a normal monsoon, but remember, IMD said that there is a 50 to 60% possibility of a normal monsoon. So for agriculture as a sector, that's not a very big reassuring possibility of 50%. It's 50 this way or that way. So weather is going to be a big concern going forward for the Kharif crops as well. And then, of course, the kind of trade strategies that many countries make will also be seen. Argentina, Brazil. We are not getting any wheat from Russia, Ukraine, and India has banned exports already. And Argentina and Brazil also have seen very tough weather this time around. So when you look at the global food security, global food prices, we've seen them at record highs in the month of Feb and March. April has seen a very minor decline, but whether May will live up to it is something that we'll have to watch out for. So are we out of the woods? We are not. And for the wheat also, I mean, the kind of step that the Indian government has taken clearly has been criticized by the international community as such, because this was a ray of hope for all of those countries there. So the food prices are expected to be on the higher side. Kharif is going to be a bit of a concern from where we see it right now. And the prices of many of these commodities are expected to stay elevated. Yes.
I mean, at this point, I feel like forget tea and coffee, but this looks like a bigger, much bigger concern with wheat prices soaring, to multi-month highs, and that's a trend that we probably will be seeing more, going forward as well, a further hike or a further uptrend in the prices. So, guys, keep an eye out for what's happening in the wheat space. We'll get you more updates tomorrow at 1 p.m. again. Thank you so much, Manisha, for joining in, and thank you guys for tuning in as always.